Hi everyone! We're back again with another tips and techniques tutorial. Today we're going to be looking at making a woven frame. This frame is 1.5 inches wide around the frame and 5 inches by 5 inches. Today we're going to work on a frame that's slightly less thick on the width. It's 1 inch around, but it's still 5 by 5. This frame is made using the Memory Magic paper pack. And today we're going to use the That's Amore papers. So what you'll need is your main color. I've chosen this cocoa pattern out of the kit. You're going to need 4 long strips, which I cut at 6 inches, and then 12 shorter strips, which I cut at 2.5 inches. And these are going to be one direction of the weave. Then you're going to choose strips for the other direction of the weave. You'll notice in this one I have actually a whole bunch of different colors. I used the tulip type color for the one direction, and then I chose blues and greens and yellows. I want to make it a little bit more subtle for this frame, so I just chose 2 papers. In each of them I took 2 strips that are 6 inches and then 6 strips that are 2.5 inches. So let's get started and I'll show you how to do this. So let's start with the main color of your photo. We're going to start with a strip of adhesive along the top line. Then we're going to use our main color. This is my cocoa pattern that is going to be my main color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay it down just straight along the edge, and actually this cutting mat's really helpful because I can line it up so it's straight along the line, and then I also can see if these strips hanging off the end are straight as well. So what I did was I just lined them up side by side here, sticking off the end, and I actually started from the edges and worked my way to the middle. And with the other frame I had to clip off some of the papers towards the middle and make them slightly thinner just because there is that bumping up space, but we'll see how it goes. So you're going to use your 2 long papers on the outside and then your shorter papers along the middle section here. So we've got 6 in the middle section here, and then we're going to also put 6 in the middle section there. And this might seem a little bit confusing, but once we get started you'll be like, oh, I understand. See here, this is just a little too thick, so I'm just going to cut this down and make it just a little thinner so it fits. And I do have a Fiskars cutter, but I really also like my quilting roller and my blade. So that's what you see me using there. So there we've got that. Then you're going to run a line of adhesive here at the bottom of the opening and do the same thing with just the short pieces. Just run them up along the edge there. Okay, so now that we've got our main color strips set up, we're going to flip over to what's actually going to be the front of the frame. So flip it over like this, and what we're going to do is we're going to take each strip and really gently and carefully just give it a little press and fold it up and straight across. It's not going to lay down flat just yet, but we want the fold at the edge of the frame to be nice and sharp so that when we're weaving pieces of paper into it, it doesn't get skewed and crooked. Okay, so now we have the main color weaving strips ready. Now what we're going to do is we're going to flip it back to the opposite side. We're going to run a strip of adhesive down the side and set up our other weaving strips. So what I've done is I've chosen 2 colors. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go back and forth between the 2 colors and line those up. Ma'am, do you want to help me?
Yeah.
Okay. So you start with, can you get a little piece of that? Good. Okay, so now that you have your frame set up, you can start the weaving. So just before we start, I just want to remind you that when you're lining up your strips, when you line up the first strip here, make sure it coordinates with the first strip here, because we want it visually to look like one strip going across the whole thing. So you'll notice that my strips coordinate across the short side. So when you flip it over, actually I'm going to do it like this. When you flip it over, you're just going to start at the end closest to the fold, and you're going to take your piece of paper, fold it over nice and tight, then just start weaving. Just go over the first paper, under the next, over the next, and under, and over, and under, and over, and under, and over, and under. So you see I've got it straight right across like that. Then what I did was I glued every time I went across, because I found that it just kept my crosswise strip more solidly in place. So I'm going to show you that, and likely in fast motion. So once you've reached the point where you've got just these two strips up to the edge done, you can now adhere these short strips to the other side to keep them out of the way of your other pieces. Okay, and now that I've got those pieces out of the way, I'm just going to continue. I'm going to just do one side and then the other and adhere those down. So now I've got my initial row of long strips. I've done my short strip sides, and now I'm just going to finish off with my two long strips, and then we'll be done. Okay, so there you have it. Pretty easy, huh? I have now a 5x5 frame with a 1-inch border. I could put a photo that is 3x3, or actually slightly larger, just so you don't notice a border underneath. You could also do it slightly differently, just add an extra 1/2 inch to your width, and you're going to need a few more longer strips and less of the shorter strips. So there's two options for you for a woven frame. I'm really excited to use this frame on a layout, because a lot of layouts ask for a 5x5 photo, and sometimes I'm not the greatest at getting photos other than 4x6s printed. So this helps fill that 5x5 photo space without actually needing a 5x5 photo. So I'm going to show you that on one of my Scrap With Me videos, how to use a woven frame in place of a 5x5 video. Thanks for watching. Bye.